Welcome back again, y'all. Glad to have y'all here. I want to kind of do a video today since I had a little extra time this morning and kind of go over some different looms that I use for my loom knitting. I got an email asking which looms I like the best, which gauges, which sizes, things like that. So I kind of gave me an idea to go over a video and kind of show you different looms and stuff that I use, things like that. So we're going to get started. Okay, so I have several different types of looms that I like to use. As you know, the basic ones that you can kind of buy at any craft store like Michael's, Joann's, Hobby Lobby, things like that. The 24 peg, the 41 peg, things like that. I have those. But I've been loom knitting now probably for about 5 years, making different things from Afghans to lap blankets to scarves, hats, all of that. And I kind of did some exploring, kind of came across some different looms that I really enjoy using, and different width sizes, different hat sizes for like children, women, youth, things like that. So I kind of want to share that with you today. The first one that I found that I really like, of course, some of you that loom knit are probably aware of Cindwood looms. Cindwood looms are amazing. I've never had an issue with them, never had an issue with the pegs and that. I did have one that I had got once, but I was using it probably for the last 3 years. And one of the pegs did come loose, but they supply you with some glue, and you can actually just put a little bit of glue in there, put the peg in there, and I put like a book on top of it overnight, and no problem. Definitely works. So let's go over some of those. Okay, so some of the hats that I loom knit and make, I kind of do different sizes and different measurements. This one here, this is by Cindwood Loom. This one here is a 5/8 48 peg loom. This is more for like an adult hat size. I've made some scarves, things like that on it. One thing I really like about these looms are, first off, you have your cast-ons on the front here, and the start peg is always a different color, so that really helps out a lot for especially like beginners that are just learning, because that lets you know that you're coming to the end of the row or the loom, stuff like that. So this one here again is a 5/8 48 peg loom. They do come in different colors, pegs. You can actually, I believe, order like a special order with the length, or excuse me, with the width and that, and pegs, because I have actually ordered one myself. This is another one here. As you can see, the other one had purple pegs. This one has the blue, and it's got the white starter peg here. This one here is a 5/8 44 peg loom. This is another one I use for smaller adults or children. This makes a really nice hat. Kind of got some smaller ones here. This one here is 1/2 and 50 pegs. What the 1/2 is, for those of you that don't loom knit, it's the width between the pegs. The shorter the width, the less yarn you have to use. For instance, like on this one, I can use one strand of number 4 weight yarn and it still comes out fine. When you go wider and you want to use like a 4 weight yarn, I usually go with 2 strands just to make sure that it's not too loose. So this one here again is a 1/2 inch 50 peg loom. This is more like for a child's hat. You can do so many different things on here. I've made scarves. I've made crows or crows, however you pronounce it, sorry. On this, I just don't use like all of the pegs. A couple more. I do have quite a few of the Cindwood looms with different sizes in that, because I just love their looms. This one here again has the purple pegs. This one I believe is a 1/2 60 peg Looms. So this is more like a tighter hat. I can actually go with about 1 strand depending on the weight. Like if I use a 3 or lower, I would put 2 strands on here just to kind of have a more steady and tight knit going around. But this is another one here. This one here has the smaller pegs, kind of really thin here. More like for a real tight knitted design that you're making, whether you're doing a scarf, a hat, stuff like that. This one here is a 3/8 inch width and 80 pegs. I used this once on a hat that I made. It came out amazing because the knits were so tight. This is more like for the fine yarn, like a weight 2 or a weight 3 yarn, if you want to only use just 1 strand instead of 2. And of course, as I stated, you know, you can find your basic ones like at Michael's or Joann's and that. This comes usually in a set. I have about 6 different sizes of this one here. I believe this is a KB loom. I believe this is my daughter. Yes, it's a KB loom. My daughter had actually gave me this set. Then you have like these ones here. These come in different sizes from like a 24, a 12 peg. I have a 41 peg in there as also. These smaller ones are more like for an infant hat or socks, slippers, stuff like that is what I make on those. I also ordered this set on Cindwood Looms. I'm not sure if they still have this set on there. I would have to look. If they do, I can put all of the links below for you on these. These are more for like scarves, cowls, things like that I make. This is more like for a children's size scarf or a cowl. This is a 5/8 40 peg loom here. I really like these ones. This is more of the adult size. I actually did a lap blanket on this one also, which came out really nice. But this one here is also a 5/8 inch, and there's 60 pegs on this one. So again, you have this one that's more of a smaller one, 40 peg, and then you have the 60 peg. And sometimes, I think when I ordered this, they had a special. I got both those oval looms, and then I got like a little pattern book that had a few different patterns in it. I did make like 2 out of there. I think there was like 4 or 6 different patterns in that book, so it was really neat. Okay, these are kind of different here. These are more like a straight loom that I use. These I use for scarves sometimes. Sometimes I've done a couple blankets on these. I actually have 2 different ones. I have this one with the purple and then this one with the pink. So I can do like 2 long strips at one time and then sew them together for like a blanket, an afghan, stuff like that. This one here is a 7/16 inch and it has 35 pegs. And as I stated, there's always one that's a different color. That's like your starting peg there. So another option that you have from Cindwood. And you can definitely go on Cindwood.com or CindwoodLooms.com and take a look. They got patterns and everything on there. A bunch of different size looms, things like that. And they're amazing. Okay, another one I had come across, and this one I had actually found before I was introduced to the Cindwood Looms. This was a company, I believe they were on Etsy, called Cottage Looms. I don't know if any of you have any of their looms or even heard of them, but they're another amazing loom that I like to use. Cottage Wood Looms is all handmade, and their pegs are more of like a metal. So some of you out there may have used them and liked them. Some of you may have not been too fond with it. I will have to say you definitely want to check the pegs. I haven't had any issues, but my previous followers and that have used these stated how the yarn caught on some of the pegs because they were rough. I personally have never had that issue, so I love these just as much as I do my Cindwood. These smaller ones here, this is a 1/4 inch and 36 pegs. This I use more like for children's stocks, things like that, that I make on here. Another one I have, this is a 5/8 24 peg, more like for an infant hat, slippers. I made slipper on this one. So that's this one here. And these here, they also have a peg in the front to kind of cast your yarn on there, which is kind of nice. I usually don't use those. I usually just start with the first peg. A couple others that I had gotten from Cottage with Looms is this one here. This is, again, another one that you can use for like a small child or infant hat. A really tight scarf, like if you're going to use like a lacy yarn, this one, it works well on these because the pegs are small enough. This is a 3/8 inch 44 peg loom from Cottage with Looms, and they are just like, they stamp their product also. So like on the back here, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up, it says Cottage Looms. And they're all handmade. The wood is so sanded down so smoothly and stained very nicely. This one here is my favorite, most favorite out of all the ones I have from Cottage Looms. This one is a 1/4 120 peg loom. I've done so many different patterns on this. I have made several adult hats. I have made a afghan and a scarf. And some of you, I did get a few comments a while back that the pegs were too tiny to work with. They're too close together. It did take me a little while to get used to this because of that reason. But I'll tell you, my hats, when they come out, they're so tight. The knits are so tiny. It looks like it was actually done like on a machine, kind of a pattern. And I'll see if I still have a picture of a couple of the hats that I made on this, and I'll post that in the video here at the end to kind of show you the difference between a Cindwood loom and one of these hats that I had made. But this one, definitely out of all the Cottage ones, I like this one the best. It just has a more tighter, fancier kind of stitch, I guess I can say, on it than most of the other ones that I use. So these are just a variety to kind of show you of different looms that I use, hats, things that I make. I will try to put I will try to put pictures at the end of the video to kind of show you different things that I've made, the blankets, the hats, stuff like that, whatever I can come up with. I'll put that at the end of the video. You kind of see the difference between the texture, the yarn, and the design, stuff like that, so you guys can get an idea. But definitely, if you are a loomer and you like to loom knit, I guess you're called a loomer, loom knitting, there's so many different loom knits out there. There's so many different widths and sizes to do different patterns, things like that. So definitely look into it. Check out cindwoodlooms.com. They're great. You can also go on Etsy. I'm not sure if Cottage Looms still has their store out there. I mean, it's been a while since I've ordered one of theirs, but you can look on Etsy for Cottage Looms, and I'll put that in the description also. So that is just a little bit of kind of the looms and that. The looms and that I work with. Currently, I am actually working on a hat. This is another Cindwood loom I have here. I'm kind of working on a hat here, I believe. This is a 72 peg. This is a 72 peg loom. I believe it is a 1/2 width. This one, of course, I didn't write, or it wasn't, the stamp kind of faded off. But I'm kind of making the hat here. I got the double thick brim on, and just kind of did a darker blue on the bottom, and just kind of working my way. I'm trying to turn this into a saggy hat where it's not so tight and just lays right on the top of your head. It actually gives you a little bit of breathing room. So that's the one I'm currently working on now. And in another video, I will definitely pull out a loom and kind of show you, for those of you that are wanting to get into loom knitting or learn it, I'll show you the different stitches and that I use or that I've learned. There's a lot of different videos out there that I've learned from on different stitches and things like that. So we'll kind of do those on another video. Well, I want to thank you all for stopping by today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions or anything about loom knitting and that you want some information on, please leave me a comment, and I'd be glad to get back to you or do a video and kind of show you the different techniques, different things like that. So I appreciate each and every one of you for all of your support. I hope you enjoyed the video today. If you did, definitely give us those likes. We really appreciate each and every one of you, and we'll catch you all on the flip side. So here's what I call my wall of looms. Kind of have a old little kitchen shelf that I don't use on my kitchen anymore, so I kind of came up with an idea to stick it in my craft room and hang all my looms on it. kind of helps me out to be able to decide which loom I want to do next or what project I plan to do.